Hello, hello. This is Sarah and Annabelle. We're back again, and today is 18th of April in Australia, 17th of April in America. Welcome along. Sarah and I thought we would talk about in this video the most obvious thing that's blasting around the news, the Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris, in France. We've got lots of ideas around this, and we're tossing ideas around at the moment as to what feels right, what could be tiny possibility, and look at it on many different levels, not just the physical side of things.
Exactly.
So where do you want to start, Sarah? What do you reckon?
Oh, well, the first thing that made me kind of pay attention was the date, April 15th. So April 15th is the same day that the Titanic sank.
Same day that Abraham Lincoln was assassinated, and
yes,
there was another thing.
And there were several others as well, but the Titanic one was the one that kind of lit up for me, because I was thinking, okay, the people, there were so many of people on that ship that sank that were fighting the Federal Reserve. Yes. And they got invited to go on. So basically that was the start of this type of banking. And I thought, I bet it has something to do with banking. It's got, of course, all these type of FF events have some financial aspect or component to them. But I just started thinking there's got to be something else there. And of course, the timing is in the middle of the season of sacrifice, which goes through till
it's like the end of March, isn't it? Through to, is it about a month's worth? End of March.
Yeah, a little more than a month. It ends, I think, the end of April or May 1st or something.
So there are loads of things that have happened through history over many, many centuries that have happened within this time period where things are deliberately stirred up. So that's not helpful.
I want to say one thing just to make sure we're clear, that when we talk about FF events, I don't want us to get flagged. I don't, just in case, you're not supposed to say those words. I was like, that we're not saying that it didn't really happen, that it was fake.
Oh, no.
No, the events happen. Yeah. There are often crisis actors that are hired to come in and play parts as well. But people do get killed and buildings do get burned and all of that. It's just what's false about it is how it happens and what purpose it serves.
Yes.
So the season of sacrifice is a period of time when a lot of bad shit happens, quite frankly.
That's it. Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but the elite in the world are mostly, if not all, actually practicing Satanists. We talked a little bit about the difference between Lucifer and Satan and how they get them all mixed up. But the idea is that they are using black magic to try to get power, and even torturing, sacrificing kids, some of them, and all that other stuff, which I'm not going to, this isn't where we're going to go into that. But
that's it. It's horrible to learn about that the first time around, but once if we can, more of us can understand that that's a possibility that they're using these tactics, then that it's more powerful for all of us to be able to get together and go, no, that's not going to work. That what you're trying to achieve in terms of negative energy, we can combat, we can resist. Because positive is 10 times more powerful than negative.
Right, as long as we are consciously doing it. If we're not aware of what's going on and we're just going along, going with the flow of and not setting conscious intentions, then we're not fighting it.
Yeah.
But because we are in a period of time when, as Osiris described it, it's the in-breath time, which is when Creator is drawing parts back into itself. We're reuniting and raising our vibrations. So that's the wind at our back throughout the universe. So anything that we do is at least 10 times more powerful than anything they can do to try to do the opposite energy. So we're really powerful in this. We just have to be willing to be conscious and set those intentions and take actions within the world to back them up.
And I didn't know that, what you were just telling me there, but I still felt like when that happened, yes, people are going to be very upset. They're very sentimental about this building that's been in Paris since the 1200s, I think it was. I'm going to post a picture up here of me visiting it.
Lovely.
Yeah, it was.
I don't have a picture of me visiting
Oh,
it.
it is an extraordinary achievement in architecture and all the rest. It is amazing. When I went there, I wasn't really far along my spiritual path at that time. Not considering how far I've accelerated in the last 10 years, but I did certainly feel there was no love in that building when I went in there. Going from an open-minded point of view, not attaching any religious significance to it, there was no love in that building. It was cold. It was designed. It's so big. I just can't believe that they could build something that big in the 1200s. It's amazing, amazing achievement for sure. But it just felt like it was designed to make you feel as small and insignificant and fearful as possible. It's surrounded by gargoyles, which we have been told is used to chase off evil energy. But seriously, wouldn't you use more angels rather than gargoyles? I mean, come on. Very gothic.
And they've got those gargoyles now at the Denver International Airport. You know how it's truth. They put the truth out there, and they have videos
so you can laugh at it.
One of them saying, "This is welcome to Illuminati Center." I mean
Denver
International Airport.
Yeah.
You know, it's ha 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 ha. Isn't that funny? All those conspiracy theorists, but they put it out there because if we don't look at that and go no, then it's implied consent. It's part of the laws of their magic.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, we're taught to laugh at it. So let's come back to the event itself. We'll just have a quick talk about what seems suspicious about it, what doesn't seem to work. So I found an article that was on the BBC website, that's in England. It was posted on the 5th of April about the incredible cost of the renovations of Notre Dame. And they had a video. They took a presenter over there who was interviewing someone involved in the renovation. Literally, these buildings, it's like 1,000 years old, and it's crumbling. It's dangerous. It's decaying. It's starting to fall apart. And the cost of renovating it has become so extraordinary that the government can't afford it. Now, it's funny that should come out on the 5th of April. That's curious already. If you found that you couldn't afford to renovate something that is a world icon, what do? You can't just appeal to your local billionaires if there's no urgency to it, right? So are you not better than to be fantastic in your show business style to get attention? And then all the world will donate to rebuild that building.
Yes.
So that's
plus,
a possibility,
I'm sure it's insured.
Right? Well, now that's interesting because you look at I like the movie The Thomas Crown Affair. I always loved that movie. I thought Rene Russo. Have you seen it?
Yes.
Yes, Rene Russo is so good in that. She's the insurance babe, and she is going to go in there and prove what happened and find out. And so if there is insurance, can you possibly insure a priceless building? I really don't know. But if there is insurance, they'll be working damn hard to prove that it was suspicious circumstances.
They've been for the refurbishment. They've been removing the statues and paintings and candle holders and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So did they get it all out? Will they say that things were still in there when they burned down? I mean, there's a whole lot of options there for faking it.
Yeah.
Or they're out
or just
now.
Get it out.
Get it out and. Say you've got a golden candle holder, you get it out of there, and then you make a fake that's just gold plated, and you got a little extra money on the side there. Who knows?
Well, yeah, if there's insurance, but like I said, it's a priceless building. There might not have been insurance involved there. Maybe they just needed to save all the artwork. Who knows? We don't know that part yet as to what insurance might be involved. The fact that there are workers in there that were doing renovations and they all left. Was it 10 or 20 minutes before the fire started? So that's curious already.
Mm-hmm.
The news have never said anything about any deaths. And yet you found an article that said that there were 2 deaths, but nobody has said anything about that at all.
No.
So we don't know
and
about
the other
that.
thing that made me go, was President Trump's tweet. where he was saying, horrible to watch the massive fire at Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris. Perhaps flying water tankers could be used to put it out. Must act quickly. And I read that and I just went, that's an idiotic tweet. And I know
why. Tell
he
me
doesn't.
Why.
Because he's not a professional firefighter, and what he suggests isn't going to make a difference anyway. I took it as him signaling something.
You reckon?
Yeah, that like maybe they're not going to put it out on purpose. Geez.
Let
and
it burn
from
to
what
death,
I read,
down.
they didn't. Yeah, they didn't use any helicopters. They didn't.
Well, I mean, that to me is common sense. Surely, if you've got a building in the middle, here again, timing-wise, the workers had all left. It's considered peak hour. Hello, push. It's considered peak hour.
Hello,
so
kitty.
So you've got maximum amount of people in the city, so the firefighters can't get there, and you've also got the biggest audience who will see it live and be traumatized by the whole thing, right? So there's lots of good reasons to do it at that time of day. Also, just after dark means the flames will be more spectacular than if you did it at lunchtime. I mean, the most obvious thing to me would be to bring the helicopters in and dump water on it before it spread. When you've got a whole city full of traffic and the fire people can't get there for 2 hours.
2 hours.
2 hours.
Are you kidding me?
Of course
2
you
hours?
have helicopters, right? Isn't that the most obvious thing to do? So to me, that tweet sounded like common sense, and to make everybody turn their heads towards the fire department. What the hell were you doing? No helicopters? Are you serious? Yeah.
It's a signal like, hey, people noticed they could have been fighting this and they weren't.
And they didn't.
Better hurry. You got to get there. You got to get there. And the response to his tweet was that they couldn't use that because it could just completely destroy the building if you poured water on it.
Say what? It's a stone building. It's been there for 1,200 years.
Rain on in torrential rain. All these things, wars have happened around it.
Yeah.
And a bucket of water is going to suddenly make the whole thing just fall apart and destroy all the buildings on either side of it.
Wow. If the BBC's right, maybe it actually literally would fall down. Maybe it would. Who knows?
Who knows?
But if it was that dangerous, they would have closed it off.
And whenever you have this type of event also, you have to think, okay, what's in the news they don't want us to be paying attention to?
Now, I know that, and I know that that's got the American link, that we've got the Mueller report was due to come out tomorrow, right? It's Wednesday. Correct. For you right now. I heard that as well, and to me that doesn't ring right. That doesn't ring true. I think they've got enough issues to think about in Europe rather than setting up FFs just to prevent a report in America. I think that the Yellow Vests protest movement is massive, way bigger than they're actually reporting. Huge. I
think so.
Constant. They are continuing on, and I think it was today or yesterday was the moment that President Macron was meant to address the Yellow Vest protests. So that's a good enough reason already to go, oh, no, damn, we can't do that now. We've got too much on the news. And not only that, but now you've upset all the Yellow Vest people. So that'll stop them any violence anyway, right? They all stand there with their mouths open, looking towards the island where the cathedral is. So that'll slow down the protests already. There's like multiple reasons as to why we do this. Now there are billionaires offering many millions of dollars to rebuild. I heard somewhere, but I cannot find the source, so I can't be sure. Someone saying that Macron had said something about let's rebuild the building to match the new diversity of the country, which I think would absolutely drive the Catholics nuts, considering how many new religious groups have just been brought into the country very, very recently.
Was that suggesting that they include Islamic mosques, and make it have a mosque? Try to find that word there.
I don't know, and like I said, I can't even find the original comment, so we can't really talk too much about whether that is the case or not. But it does make you wonder. Now, historically, the church, that Notre Dame church, is on the ley lines of the major lines through the earth, and it was built on top of a Roman temple. Now, if Romans decided to build a temple on it, you can bet your bottom dollar that there was something even more sacred and feminine underneath it again. So it's jamming down, squashing down the feminine. There's a lot suppressed on that particular geographical spot in the world.
Interesting. It brings to mind for me Jerusalem and how everybody wants to have their church there. You know, and just sort of on a side note, I was working with a client who had very, very strong feelings about Israel and lived there for a length of time. And she was very confused by those feelings. She wasn't born Jewish, and she's, you know, just a regular old waspy American. And but just felt this strong pull. So we went to look at it. And what I found was that there was actually a portal underground there, that's actually like an interdimensional, interstellar portal, and everybody wants control of it. And the reason she was very interested in taking care of it is her divine self or higher self, whatever you want to call it, aspect was part of that portal protection. So the human part was feeling that energy come through.
Did she know specifically where it was in Israel, so that she could go and stand there and look after it, or
no?
No, she didn't know where it was.
No, I mean, we didn't even look. It was deep underground, was my sense, like in a cave underground, not like, you know, walking around on the surface of the planet. So perhaps there's something here. Like you said, it does cross ley lines. It does have ley lines crossing under it because it crossed them itself. So there could be something there. Interesting.
Yeah, and there's pointy things as well. Now, I will find this information. It was talking about buildings using obelisks and spires to draw energy in, the same way that a pyramid works, as it pulls the energy into the center, and then you have energy within there that you can use for positive or negative. It comes in neutral, and how you choose to use it, your intentions of what decides how that energy becomes powerful in the negative or the positive. That Notre Dame had, here he goes again, pussycat. That originally it had the two bell towers at the front. I think they're bell towers. There's two towers at the front. But the tallest spire, the one that fell so magnificently in being filmed, was not built that long ago. It was like 100 years ago or something. Way, way higher than the top of the church. And so I'm assuming it was wood, because it was burned.
Was that at the center of the cross, like right directly over where the two cross of the building? Was that where that spire was?
I'm not sure. I don't know which part of the roof it was on, but it's vertically much, much higher than the rest of the building, the spire.
It was.
So it was. Then it fell down.
Well, people are freaking out. I mean, it's like 9/11. It's got people just boom. I saw Jordan Sather actually tweeted something like, to the extent of, you know, I'd be okay with the whole Vatican burning down. Oh boy, you can imagine the reactions he got to that. Yeah, and I'm not even going to speak to, you know, that's not what we're talking about now, what he's thinking on that. But, and the other thing I saw that was a picture, somebody had a picture in front of Notre Dame just maybe half an hour before the fire started of a man swinging their kid around. And they said, I took this picture, and at the time I thought I should give it to the man, but then I got embarrassed. But considering what happened today, maybe he'd like to have this picture. Does anybody know who this is? And somebody said, wait, where's the scaffolding? I thought that was being worked on. And, how dare you say something like that? This is a touching moment. These people are possibly there, and this is their kid, and it was a da-da-da.
Say what?
And it just, and the other thing
I don't know if you can see the scaffolding from the front, though.
No. The person said, I'm so sorry. It was so inappropriate of me to have even said something like that.
Oh, goodness.
It was just their mistake. And then another person, just on a side note, responded, you're putting a photo of somebody's child up on social media and showing it to the world. They haven't given you permission to do that, blah, blah, blah. And I just thought, we're so politically correct.
We're missing the point completely, aren't we? This is how you get people arguing amongst each other.
It's got everybody so riled up at the drama of it. They're going after each other for even more trivial things.
Right. Yeah. Missing the point. So whether it was an accident which seems so strange considering how long it has been around, or whether it was planned. Let's look at the longer term consequences of that as well. The whole idea of the buildings coming down.
That article that from Robert David Steele, who is an ex-CIA guy, who still has lots of connections.
Yeah.
And
put the link for that below.
Yes. What he wrote here is that he got some information. Okay, I'll just read some of it. I heard from a shadow foreign minister of France, and I believe all the following to be true, and an indictment of Macron, Merkel, May, and the Pope are coming.
Oh.
And
how can you do an indictment of them in America?
Not in America, but somewhere else.
In a world,
he thinks that basically all this Satanism and pedogate stuff is just coming up so strongly. That'd be another reason to do that, because people are really hating Catholics right now. And, this gives them a big pity factor. So it can be a way of distracting from what's going on with that. So what he wrote was that Canadian intelligence officers who went immediately to the site for a first-hand look were prevented from getting close. There was no electricity in the area where the fire is alleged to have started. So this is the information he got, he says, from somebody within the French ministry. There were 2 bodies in the fire, both shot and killed by bullets.
Which has not been on any news at all.
No. Who knows? No helicopters are brought in to fight the fire.
We know that.
So that sort of is like, okay, yeah, why is he making that sound important? Maybe that's, tells us about the Trump tweet a little bit. There was dysfunctional water spraying machine. Official narrative pretended it was an accident immediately and clearly, right, boom, within an hour. It was like, it was an accident, right? Timing is impossible to dismiss, intended to prevent announcement of Macron's loss in the national debate inspired by the Yellow Vests.
Right, there it is.
Yep. And then he wrote some afternotes. It's the anniversary of the Titanic. This is intended to save the global financial system owned by the Satanists by saving the European election in May. Anticipate a call for financial solidarity that keeps France trapped in Europe by the EU agreeing to pay for the renovation of the cathedral. So the EU and central banks are beneficiaries of this event, FF event, along with Macron as the token leader of behalf on part of the satanic deep state.
Goodness.
Wow. There's a lot in that. Robert David Steele, some people think he's really groovy. Some people think
he's still on the bad side.
CIA.
Yeah, so, always the CIA.
You don't ever stop being in the CIA, right?
Which makes it more tricky. So have to tune into intuition on that one then, right?
Yes. Well, the fact that a whole lot of that, what you and I were both thinking separately, it's got probably about money. It's like this, the yellow vests, all that. We were already like leaning that direction.
Yeah, it feels to me like show business. It's well planned. But it's interesting that nobody in the news was showing it as a death. There was no deaths according to the news.
But they evidently kept a pretty tight lid on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
At any rate. So we shall see what happens if, the EU ends up saying we'll pay for the cathedral, you got to stay in, show solidarity, well, like he was predicting here. We'll be the first to know.
I guess so. And if there are these individual millionaires who's going to put money forward, if we get enough of those, if France gets enough of those, they won't have to rely on the EU.
Right.
And what are they going to build? This is another thing that's interesting, isn't it? If this building is so decrepit that it's already falling down, is this the excuse to bulldoze it? Because you would never get away with it otherwise. If there had not been a fire and they had to admit to the world, this is so decrepit, it's dangerous, and needs to be pulled down, they would be, yellow vest people would have pitchforks in the streets. There's no way they would allow that to be pulled down. But now there's a decent excuse to bulldoze it if that's, if it was literally falling down. There's so many
That's
reasons
similar
for this, isn't
to the Twin Towers for 9/11.
there? Yeah. They removed them really fast, didn't they?
They were problems, and they needed to be destroyed and rebuilt. How convenient!
Yeah.
Let's fly an airplane into a building designed to not be taken down by an airplane flying into it.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, that's another story. But
that is another story. What else have I got around that?
Try to stay out of the drama as much as possible. It's a gorgeous building. It sounds like the artwork inside of it has been safely removed. And it looks like I still saw a bunch of stained glass, so
I noticed
some of
that
it's
too.
still there.
Isn't that strange for a start? Old glass that is still cool enough to not break and shatter and melt. Old glass, centuries old glass that doesn't even fall out and warp. And isn't that strange?
What's interesting
it looks
is
like there was a huge, huge fire.
These stained glass, they had some technique that we don't have in modern era of making the glass, because there have been times when they had to replace an individual pane, and when you'll see they're like the rest of the normal stained glass, but that one pane, you'll see a beam of light shining through it. But the other glass somehow doesn't end up with those rays of light coming through it. It stays lit up in the glass. Interesting. So maybe, who knows, maybe that makes it stronger, but I don't know. It's kind of sad, but if the solar flash is happening, there's probably going to be a lot of buildings coming down.
Well, let's make a new video to start that one. We'll talk more about the solar flash and about intention. Yeah, about how because we can change things. Our minds are very powerful, and if we look a little bit into our reaction to these huge events and possibly bigger ones from here forward, and how we process it and stand together and making a better future.
I'm in.
To be continued.